Do you remember the first time you realized how much I love you? How did it make you feel?
It made me feel so happy and just loved and just know that you're my dad.
Oh, that makes me smile. What's something about me you admire and why?
Something about you that I admire, that you're always hardworking. You always go to work even if you're in a bad mood or not. If you don't even want to go to work, you always just push through and do it. So I think that's why I want to push through and do everything that I want to do.
Oh,
What lessons has fatherhood taught you?
fatherhood has taught me more lessons than we have time to sit down and discuss. But I think the main thing is that I see, I almost have an understanding of how God feels about us because He is our Father. And through fatherhood, you learn to love unconditionally. Even though your kids may make you mad sometimes, even though you see their mistakes, it teaches you how to love with grace, how to show mercy, how to be caring, to be selfless, to be a protector, to be a provider, to ignore your emotions and your feelings sometimes when they contradict with the actions that you need to take. So yeah, fatherhood, in my opinion, has been the thing that has driven me closer in my relationship with God because it allows me just to get a glimpse of how He feels about us. I just want you to know, sweetie, that you are truly one of God's greatest gifts in my life, and I know I'm not perfect, but I strive to be the best father that God created me to be, and I hope you know that Daddy loves you and will always be here for you no matter what.
I love you,
Love
Daddy.
you too.
What was your first encounter with God like?
Wow. You chose these questions off that paper? Oh man, my first encounter with God, the thing that comes to mind first is just sitting, listening in church to the choir sing. And I could just remember just crying uncontrollably. Do you remember the first time you realized how much I love you? And if you do, how did it make you feel?
It make me feel good. You showing me how much you care. So you caring about every small detail of my life and wanting me to do things the right way because you can see how it'll make me better ahead of time.
That's amazing. It's good to know. I think every father wants to know that eventually their child gets it, right?
What's something you wish more people knew about you?
That is a very good question. If I wasn't a pastor, I'd probably be trying to coach on the collegiate level full time or in the NFL level. That's how much I love football. How do you think you and I can create more meaningful memories together as a family?
Through experiences, just continuously to experience more things together.
What's one thing that you admire about me?
Like we talked about earlier, is that the passion that you have and the determination. That you have a strong determination for me and all your kids to see how much you love us by saying it, by showing it, and just continuously to do that. Like I would never my testimony would never be that I had a dad that didn't love me or had one and he didn't say it. You said it all the time. You showed it all the time with what is the characteristic of God given. You always gave to us so much.
What lessons has fatherhood taught you?
Well, one of the greatest lessons I learned about fatherhood, I kind of learned it from you and your brother, was when you guys were small and I was just beginning to pastor. I would be doing sermons and your mom would always tell you guys to be quiet while I worked. And one of the things that I learned about my relationship with God was from you guys. You guys would walk into my office and you wouldn't say anything because you didn't want to disturb me, but what you would do is lift your hands. And we both knew what that meant. And what I learned from that was it always meant Daddy picked me up. And so now my relationship with God is whenever I get to a point where I know I need Him, but I can't think of what to say, I just lift my hands. And it's always, Daddy picked me up, and He does. What do you think our family's biggest strength is?
Perseverance. I think we've had our ups and downs, but no matter what, we rock together. Like Nothing can tear us apart. We still together now. A lot.
I agree. Yeah, what's one thing you admire about me?
Father, I'm gonna be real with you, man. One thing I admire about you, man, is that you have always been there when society shows that the black man is not. You've always been my hero growing up. I've always looked at you, man, like you've been top dog preacher. I mean, you had East Texas on lock. Greatest singer I've ever heard, you know. So, I mean, honestly, man, you have been my hero all my life. And so looking up to you, man, has been amazing. I look up to how driven you are, how much you love God. I mean, the 5 services we had to sit through on Sunday and then drive back and get home at midnight and then still wake up at school and be expected to have A's. But no, man, you're just a great father, man. I look up to you and I love you with my whole heart.
Yeah, what is the best advice I ever give you?
Don't get in any fights. Don't get in any arguments. Try your best to keep the peace. And no matter who tells you no, somebody's always gonna say yes to you. So that's some of the best advice that I've learned and that you've given me.
Thank you. Thank you.
First of all, you're the greatest. One of the things, you know, that I always admire about you is no matter how many times you've been inducted into a Hall of Fame, no matter how many rings you've gotten, no matter how many belts you've received, you've always stayed humble and meek. So I admire that about you, and I feel that that's the same spirit that I carry because I've seen you, how you operate. No matter how many times people say how great you are, no matter how many times, how many books have been written and movies have been made, you've always stayed the same. So I admire that.